GoodNight PunPun is a masterpiece, a work of art that has left me completely broken inside. And, of course, I hate it, alright? The one manga that has left me broken more than any other is about the life of a boy and his journey of adulthood. Unlike my other two favorite manga, Monster and Berserk, I have always been a little hesitant in talking about or even considering the idea of discussing what I considered perhaps one of the greatest manga and one of my picks of the greatest authors, Asano. Asano has this gift in which he can take the mundane, the simple, the ordinary, the essence of the slice of life, and completely flip it on the genre's head. And because of that, I hold this series, I hold PunPun in such high regard that I wanted this video to fully express my emotions on PunPun and his story, a tale of which I no longer want to look at because of how much it reminds me of myself. That bit of darkness, that self-doubt, that emptiness that I struggle with. And I'm sure that others may share this feeling. Reading PunPun, going from this idealistic, shy boy who had dreams of saving humanity to someone who has been consumed by darkness, trying to find his way in the world. I feel like, in a sense, that would have been me. That would have been me if I didn't take the first step to no longer feel empty inside. And despite reading PunPun, this manga, his story, has had a small effect on me. And it reminds me to not give in too deeply on the parts of myself that I hate, but to ignore that side of myself that I may want to get rid of, that if I could, I would choose not to put those flaws of myself that I hate. To ignore them would have not been the best outcome, because if I did ignore them, then that means that I would have been in denial. And denial is probably the worst step you can take when trying to improve yourself. So, once again, I hate PunPun. I hate PunPun because it made me realize that I need to take the first step into no longer being the type of human that I was, but to hopefully aim for something brighter and better. Now, Asano is perhaps one of the few mangaka that I would love to one day be able to interview. I guess you can say that in a way when it comes to his writing style. This guy might just be one of my role models. I want to ask Asano, when he wrote PunPun, I want to ask him, how hard was it to write about that side of humanity that we don't really want to discuss, but in a way we need to. We have to, and we need to. I will just love to kind of just tinker inside his creative mindset. And maybe one day I might be able to. You never know. I don't know. But perhaps one day I can just take a peek at his thought process. Maybe one day I can be able to interview him. Because reading PunPun had me questioning my life, and it made me wonder, why did I get absorbed into this manga? A manga that on paper should have been such a simple and adorable tale about you reading about PunPun, a shy, simple boy who just wanted to save humanity and who wanted to save his first love. But I do think that one of the reasons why I did get absorbed into PunPun, and perhaps one of the reasons why others get absorbed into this story, is because of the design of PunPun. And of course, Asano's writing style. By PunPun not looking like a regular human, and to the readers, it makes it easier for us to kind of take the place of PunPun. We can imagine ourselves being PunPun. Now, combine the abstract art style with Asano's writing, and that right there, to me at least, and this is all based on my opinion, but add those two elements together, and you have one of the best mangas of all time. And quite frankly, my pick for number one, right? PunPun, GoodNight PunPun is my number one pick for perhaps one of the greatest mangas of all time. Now, speaking of Asano's abstract art styles, I would suggest that you check out Naoki Urasawa's series Manben and his interview with Asano. Two masters in the same room, and you really get to witness Asano's work process. And as I was saying, abstract art, which draws the reader into their own perspective, a story in which I think that most can relate to give PunPun a chance, to give PunPun a read. Now, I would like to suggest that you may want to read Asano's other works first, since I feel like this is his magnum opus, his greatest one ever. And also, if you are not in the right space mentally, then I would suggest and holding off on reading this. Maybe just wait a bit. But while you are reading this, I want you to remember that it's okay to acknowledge the parts of you that you may despise, but do not fall into that pit of despair. Instead, use your time to find your passion. Go on a journey to find who you are and discover your truth. Because, like in life and PunPun and manga in general, there are these little moments of happiness, discovering something new or different about yourself. random adventures with friends, exploring a new place for the first time. Honestly, I think the story of PunPun isn't just to tell us how dark the human mindset can be, or how scary and, well, despicable that the human mentality can also be, right? I think that this story, isn't just to tell us how dark this world can be, how dark me and you can be, but to also acknowledge the light, the goodness that our kind can bring, that you are responsible for going deeper into either the light or darkness. It's all up to you. No one else can make that choice. Now, other people may help you influence, and whether you want to swim in the light or to just drown in complete darkness, others may be able to help you out with that. But at the same time, you have to be the one to take that first step. You have to be the one who gets up one day and to acknowledge the fact that I am just drowning in my own self doubt. I am drowning in my own despair and I need help. And the first step into asking for help is to admit that yes, there is something that is wrong with me, and so I may not be able to do this on my own. PunPun dived into the darkness, and he couldn't swim back out because I believe that PunPun was too afraid to swim for the light. It's easier to just give up and to drown into that side of ourselves that we may not like. And it is harder for us to start swimming forward into the light, into the people who may want to help us, but at the same time, we don't know how to ask for help. And we may feel like that we may not even be deserving of that help. We may not be deserving of a happy ending. So, yes, I hate PunPun and I hate his story because his story is of a innocent boy who started swimming into the light only to be drowned into darkness, only to never be able to return to that optimistic boy, a young man who wanted to save humanity and his first love, a boy named PunPun. And I just have this to say, good night, PunPun. May you one day have sweet dreams again, and may you one day be able to swim towards the light, to be able to reach your hand out, and to hopefully, and I mean hopefully, be able to get the help that you may need. So, I'm going to say this one more time. Good night, PunPun.